Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to the videos. Paid request for Mark. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, PayPal is usually the best bet, or you can join my Patreon. Links of those are in the info box, either down below or over there. But this is for White Wolves: A Cry in the Wild 2, which I know of the first film. This one came out in 1993. And the story is pretty much a teacher and five teenagers. They go into the woods. The teachers help them out a bit with kayaking, climbing. Not a whole lot happens until one of the kids is being stupid, celebrating too much, almost falls. Matt McCoy is our teacher, saves him, but then falls. They gotta go find him. They find him, he's badly hurt. Then they have to find a way to get help. This pretty much is the gist of the story. Now, I thought this movie was what you do about nothing. So it's going to be kind of interesting to do this review because not a whole lot happens. Without the end credits, the movie's like an hour and 13 minutes. And a part of me is like, why was this film even made? So, okay, like I said, the teacher's Matt McCoy, who I recognize. He was in Deep Star 6. He was later in this Bigfoot film called Abominable, which is a pretty good Bigfoot movie. Horror movie. With a touch of Rear Window. I thought that was interesting. Of the five teenagers, you have Mark Paul Gosselaar, who's the lead kid Zach in Saved by the Bell. But he's not the star of the film, which I thought was weird. I mean, he becomes kind of the de facto leader, but at the same time, he's not the primary focus. Is this other kid, and I forget his name, so I'm going to call him Troubled Youth. Troubled Youth because his dad was in jail, and there's like early argument where one of the kids, the ladies, accuse him of power bar thievery. That's the intense moments of power. Did you steal my power bars? Yes, they're my pants. Come suck them. But if you want to get the essence of power bar thievery, the troubled youth was accused, and he was falsely accused, is the bitch found the power bars later and didn't really apologize. At least not really. But yeah, Mark Paul Gosselaar's not the lead. So he's the biggest name in the movie. Because Saved by the Bell was 1989. So it was still, by this point, it was in the culture lexicon, even at this point. But yeah, he's, like I said, kind of because the de facto leader of the group. You have this lady, Amy O'Neill, which I recognize her. She was the older sister in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You have this other lady and her boyfriend. And then you have the troubled youth guy, who, again, his dad's in jail. So again, Matt McCoy's brought these five out here. They kayak for a bit, they climb for a bit, they go through a cave for a bit. Again, there's not much depth to the characters. Again, the troubled youth, you find out, like I said, his dad was in jail. Maybe one or two other things you find out, but the rest of the people, you don't know much jack squat about them. So I'm sitting there going, why should I care? So at one point, Matt McCoy tells a story, and we find out that he was the kid in the first movie, A Cry in the Wild, and he showed footage of the film. And because I guess Roger Corman, his production made this. I think the director, Sally has passed away, but she directed a few other films for Corman. I forget the names of the films. I would have to look it up, but yeah, that's one of those things where I guess, hey, if you have the footage, why not use it? Which is funny to say because this film is an hour and 13 minutes, and that's with using footage from the first movie. Granted, it's not like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 where they use like 30 or so minutes of footage, but at the same time, it shows just how little story there is in here. That they, even with that, it's, I don't know why this says an hour and 30 minutes. Because that's a lie. It is not an hour and 30 minutes. Unless there was 15 minutes of credits I didn't see. But Catherine Saran, it was produced by Julie Corman, who was the wife of Roger Corman, who is 81 years old now. And by the way, yeah, what rest in peace to Roger Corman. I think he passed away sadly, I think this year, I believe, which is too bad. It was shot in Oregon, distributed by Concord Pictures, which Corman's company. They also released like Watchers 2, which I'm a fan of. They released a lot of those type of films, definitely showcasing its low budget quality. I mean, there's, you know, decent scenery because they're in the forest and such, but it's not like there's a whole lot done with camera work or visual style. So after Matt McCoy tells his story, which is the first film, using the footage, they climb, they get to the top, and a guy celebrates. The lady that, you stole my power bars, and she was wrong. Her boyfriend celebrates, but he's like ready to slip, and Matt McCoy tries to save him, and does save him, but it comes off very laughable, because Matt McCoy saves him, but it's like he launched himself like a missile. I'm like, was that really the best way to save the guy? Like, just pull the guy. But yeah, like, he did this running leap. Just something about it made me laugh my ass off. It's like someone put a firecracker up his butt and just shot him. I'm like, I don't know if that was really the... For a guy that's supposed to be the teacher, I don't know if that was the best way to save this guy, but he falls. They do a bit of climbing. They find Matt McCoy's pack. Our troubled youth guy hears the wolf. And for a bit, I thought the guy was, what's his name, Bradley Gray from... He was a guy that, in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, got turned to the puppet. He was also in Class of 1999, but it wasn't him. And then I'm like, well, I guess it doesn't look like him. I don't know why. For some reason, for like a minute, I thought it was him, but it's not. I don't recognize the guy and what else he's been in. But he hears and sees a white wolf. It kind of leads him to finding Matt McCoy. Some arguments happen. We should make a run for it. No, we can't. Blah, blah, blah. What should we do? Pretty much arguing what we should do next. They walk for a little bit. They're attacked by a bear. Of course, the bear's never in the same frame as the actors because it's easier to shoot it that way. We did a bear. We maybe put someone's shirt on. And you see an arm. But yeah, the actors are never in frame with the bear. That's why it's kind of hard to find any amount of tension, any amount of suspense, any amount of excitement. And the bear smacks the lady, not the girl from Honey I Shrunk the Kids, the other lady. She gets hurt, so now it's two people hurt. The bear runs off, and we never see the bear again. Because you would think, oh, well, a bear's around, so maybe it's going to hunt them down, or maybe it's going to be the survival where they got to outwit the bear, outrun the bear. No, you never see the bear ever again. So, there you go. The troubled youth says, listen, we have two people hurt. We kind of know where this other party is going to be. Amy O'Neill says, I'm going to go with you. Well, I'm going to tell. They both go. They don't tell Mark Paul Gosselaar. So here's your biggest name in the movie, Mark Paul Gosselaar, just pretty much forced to stay there with this other guy to watch out for these other two, Matt McCoy and the Hurt Girl. So the rest of the film, what little there's left, Mark Gosselaar just pretty much has a thumb up his ass, doing nothing. Which again is strange. Like, why would he not cast Mark as the lead? Again, he was like the bigger name, but I don't know if that was his choice, if that was the director's choice. Maybe Mark wanted to play that part, which, hey, I get to be in the film, but I don't have to have it all on my shoulders. Okay. Hey, maybe that's a smart plan of action, but I don't know. And even then, not a whole lot happens. They try to get to this bridge, but it's out. The bridge is out! The bridge is out! The two see the white wolf. They decide to follow the river, which you think would have been their plan to start with. I don't know why a wolf need to tell them. I mean, following a river would have been the better thing to do anyway. Isn't that what they usually tell you? Well, number one, they tell you to stay in a spot or follow the river, so. The only other action is they do raft down the river a bit. They flip over. The guy gets the girl up on the raft. And thankfully, a helicopter is there. And they see the chopper. They wave it down. Then, of course, they tell where everybody else is at. They fly off. The Trouble Youth sees the wolf one last time. So, the wolf, you see... I love it's called White Wolves, but there's only one wolf. That's number one. It's called White Wolves. S. Wolves. Although I made a Z sound. White Wolves with an S, but there's one wolf. And that one wolf you see 3 times. Again, you see it once where they then find Matt McCoy's body. You see it twice when the two see it and they find the river. And the one they say goodbye. I made my obligation for the sequel. I'm going to fuck off into the forest. This movie's just a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger. It's a burger with not even a patty on it. Like, just buns. I mean, I like my buns, especially if she's 20 to 40. And those kind of buns I want nothing between, because I'm not that kind of guy. Not understand. But, you know, those are only buns with nothing in that I want. This is like a buns with... Anyway, going off that tangent. It's a nothing burger. There's nothing here. Unless you're just a diehard fan of Mark Paul Gosselaar or Matt McCoy. I am kind of interested if Mark is out there, if you want to comment on, was this a film you saw as a kid, you're very nostalgic for? Because I'm not that, because this is my first time watching it, so it's that nostalgia. It's just, nothing happens for an hour and 13 minutes. They go in the woods. McCoy gets hurt. The bear scene, because it's never in the same frame of the actors, I don't feel anything. Especially when you look at other films with bears in it, hell, from Grizzly from the 70s even, or The Edge with Anthony Hopkins. The wolves, I mean, there's one wolf, and you barely see it. The acting is there at best. The characters, again, you really don't get to know them. They have some pithy, lame arguments. It's interesting to see the girl from Honey and Shrunk the Kids in the movie. Interesting to see more Paul Gosselaar. Matt McCoy. But, I mean, thank God it was only an hour and 13 minutes, so it's hard for me to get mad at a film that at least knows to be short. Like, if you're not going to be that good of a movie, then at least be a short film. But, like I said, there's really not much to talk about. Just, like, all I described is what happens in the film. Again, the scenery, You could throw a rock and find a movie with decent scenery of the forest. At forest locations. And yeah, it doesn't do anything in terms of the camera work or like more prominent landscape shots to showcase the region. So you kind of sit there going, what? And apparently, this was successful enough. There's like two more sequels after this. I think it was like the White Wolf Cry in the Wild 2 and 3. So I guess it's made enough money, which is crazy. Because isn't there like a White Wolves 3? Yeah, there is. Well, actually, there's a White Wolves 2, Legend of the Wild, and then there's a White Wolves 3, Cry of the White Wolf. And for all I know, there's a fourth one. No, that's the last one. So White Wolves 2, Legend of the Wild, and White Wolves 3. White Wolves 2, Legend of the Wild has Elizabeth Berkley, so I guess they wanted to keep the Saved by the Bell connection. Who's in the third one? AC Slater? No. Well, that's disappointing. You don't have AC Slater in the third one? You didn't want to keep that? That's funny, though, that they have another Saved by the Bell person in the second one. Well, the one after this. Troubled teens survive in the wilderness. Family film premiered on Disney Channel. What about this one? Did this... I think it just went straight to the video. It has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. But it's based on 0 reviews, so if no one reviewed it, of course it's 0. But I think it's just like a 5.8. I mean, if that's the case, I think that's a bit high. I think it's way too high. Because nothing much there. But I'm floundering. Thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. It's just, again, at the end of the day, it doesn't offer much excitement. It was a bit boring. I wouldn't say tremendously boring because, again, the short running time was a good aspect to it. But, like I said, other than a few climbing scenes, a little bit of rafting here and there, there's not a whole lot of suspense or excitement or laughs or anything you would get out of a movie is accomplished in this. Little usage of animals. Like I said, one scene with a bear. About 3 scenes with one wolf, now white wolves. There you go. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.